Hi, class. Welcome to week 4. Let's get started. Okay, so we have a lot to do in week 4. We're going to start with refining and revising. So, your lesson for week 4, let's just go right into it. So, we're developing arguments. So this week, you will complete your compare and contrast essay assignment, and please make sure that you link it to computers and technology. Last week, we focused on the pre-writing strategies and organizing ideas. So this week, you will learn techniques to sharpen your argument, such as searching and using source material, enhancing your analysis, and polishing your paragraph structure. Now, I have a video that I included in the announcement, and it is from our librarian, Jason Rossi. So feel free to look at that video and pick up any tips that you can. So our goals for this week will be learn how to evaluate sources and recognize bias, develop critical analysis techniques to make strong arguments, practice collaborating in a professional content. So our skill spotlights are critical thinking, culture competency, information literacy, communication, global awareness, and technology literacy. So take the time to watch this TED Talk, and before you watch it, just read these questions so you can have these questions in mind as you are watching it. So when you're watching it, please consider effectively persuading an audience to adopt new ideas requires an open mind and a willingness to meet others where they are. So you guys are going to do a little peer review this week on your um, compare and contrast essay. So you have to have an open mind when you're reading your students' papers. So just take time and listen and watch the TED Talks and have those questions in mind when you're watching the TED Talks. So understanding the information, consider the following important decisions. Um, Buying a home, a car, or making some other major purchase, choosing which college to attend or which major to pursue. Just read some of these ideas and keep these ideas in mind, because each of these decisions can be life-changing and it should not be taken lightly. So the question is how to make a thoughtful decision based on the best available information. And this is why information literacy is so important. There are 3 main components to information literacy, and they are finding information, evaluating information, and applying information. So we just want to go into our little buttons here and get the drop down menu for a deeper explanation. So finding information, for example, we may find information on a topic by using an internet search engine like Google, by assessing a library database, or interviewing an expert in the field. So you kind of get a feel for what's happening. We go to the next one, evaluating information, and it says to evaluate the quality of a source of information, it is important to consider both the author's credentials as well as the reputation of the publication. For example, an experienced author who has written numerous articles and books on a topic is likely to be a reliable source. Of course, no one source of information should be relied on to make an important decision. So here we go to our last tab, That's part of our concept of information literacy, and that is applying information. So, after finding and evaluating information, the key is to take action by applying that information to make a sound and thoughtful decision. While it is always possible that the decision will not work out, applying the concepts of information literacy to the decision making process makes the odds of success much higher. So make sure you apply these information literacy concepts when you're doing your work. So, critical analysis is our next subject. So, critical analysis is closely related to the second component of information literacy, which is evaluating information. Critical analysis is all about asking questions of the information that we are reading, listening to, or viewing. Here are a few examples of the types of questions critical readers ask. So, what did she really mean when she said, what's not mentioned in this report, and so forth and so on. So just go ahead and read through that, but focus on a particular topic. If you're talking about working from home versus working at the office, a simple internet search brings up so many results, and we kind of went through this during our library tour. So when you go through there, you'll see that your first source search for resources will turn out thousands and thousands of results. So what you want to do is you want to narrow that process down. So most of the time at the top of the page, you're going to find some advertisement for web conferencing software or other home products or what have you. So you have to learn how to eliminate those, as well as the blog posts, and try to find some type of respectful publication that you can use. But most of the times when you click on it, it winds up just being clickbait, just something to draw you in and not really what you need. So this is why it's important to start your search with a proper web base. And if you search within the DeVry web base, you will be able to find articles that are suitable for your compare and contrast, because you will have to have two articles for this particular assignment. So you have to have two articles, and they have to be cited according to APA citation. So we're using the 7th edition, and you can find that in the file section of your course. So here are some questions that you might want to consider. Where was the article published? Does it publish frequently on topics related to the workplace? When was the article published? Is it current enough to be relevant to the contemporary business setting? So these are some questions that you will try to ask when you're researching the topic that you're talking about working at home versus working in office, or work from home products or softwares or what have you. If you're using that particular topic, these are some good questions that you can ask yourself and make sure that you're getting good quality sources and good information. What is the author's main point? Is it clearly stated and concise? So noticing all of these things will only help develop your essay more. So make sure you take time to go through each one of them and see if you are doing it. So you want to also make sure that you are using transitional words and phrases. So transitions are words or phrases that signal a change in direction. For example, the phrase "for instance" is an example of a transition. Transitions can be used to give examples, to indicate time order, to show locations, to indicate a cause or effect, to summarize, and a number of other purposes. So you want to make sure in your compare and contrast essay that you focus on transitions that are related to cause and effect. And here are some that are listed right here for you. So to compare, to show similarities, you will use transitional words and phrases such as also, as though, in the same way, in a similar vein, like, likewise, neither, both, similarly. To contrast means to show difference. So you would use transitions such as although, but, even though, however, in contrast, in spite of, on the other hand, otherwise, still, and yet. So make sure that you use a variety of transitional words and phrases in your essay. So now it's time to practice. So here are a few activities for you to do. The writing lab is on punctuation, commas, semicolons, and question marks. So they can be kind of pesky and people tend to want to ignore them, but they are very, very important. So they provide signposts to guide your readers on the roadway of your message. So review this video and it gives you some life-saving punctuations. And then you come down and you play your hide and show. Now here are sentences that it's your turn to add the comma, semicolon, question marks, or what have you into this sentence. And then you can view the answer after you have entered what you think is the correct answer. So you just click on here and it'll show you what the answer is. So practice that, have a little time working on that. And this is your assignment connection for your compare and contrast essay. So approach and revision. You know, this week you will revise your compare and contrast essay and complete a peer review. So revision is a complex process, and sometimes it's one that seems like it's never ending. Although this may be true, writing is a craft that can always be improved. And it may be pragmatic in a way, but you just have to work through it and make sure that you work within the time constraints that are given to you to make sure that you can get your work done timely. Now, here are a few steps for you to review when you're doing the revision process. So you want to revise. What is revising? When you revise a document, you are re-examining and adjusting the document's overall approach and using genre to shape its topic, thesis, purpose, and appropriateness for the audience and context. Some key areas to pay attention to include the following: the thesis, the argument structure, supporting ideas, and a topic sentence. So ask yourself some of these questions. Does your thesis present a clear, arguable claim that is referenced to throughout the paper? So does your thesis present a clear, arguable claim that is referred to throughout the paper? Argument structure. Does your argument have a clear trajectory that addresses all parts of the assignment? So supporting ideas and topic sentences. Do your paragraphs include supporting ideas and evidence to help develop your argument? These are some important concepts to be aware of when you're writing your paper. If you're looking for this yourself, when it comes time for your peers to review your paper, it'll already be there. So make sure that you review these steps. Step 2, editing. When you edit a document, pay attention to the document's content, organization, and design. Some areas to focus on when editing include the following: the introduction and the conclusion, structure of paragraphs, transitional statements, amount of use of background information, integration of research and examples. So you want to make sure all of this is in a nice, tight package. You don't want to have any loose ends hanging. So you want to go through this process yourself and look over it, and then proofread. And when you proofread, it's hard to proofread immediately after you have finished your document because you anticipate words being there that are actually not there. So proofreading should be the final step in your revision process. When you proofread a document, you focus on revising the style for clarity, persuasion, and consistency, paying close attention to paragraphs and sentences. These areas include the following: sentence composition, structure, and syntax, grammatical correctness, spelling and diction, word choice, tone, style, and APA. And please, by all means, check your APA, check your citations, check your in-text citations. Make sure that these concepts are known. And if you're having difficulties, we have built-in tutors. All you have to do is just contact them. They will get back to you immediately and give you the help that you need. You can also contact a librarian at any time to get that extra help if you're having difficulties with citing. But this is just part of the class and something that you will be responsible for figuring out in order to get your maximum amount of points. So peer review strategies. Peer review is an essential part of the writing process. It is a way to not only gain valuable feedback, but also to practice vital oral and written communication skills. So when you engage in peer review, there are a couple of things to remember. So here they are. I'll just read the bullets for you and you can go through them one by one. So you want to make sure that you complete your draft, prepare a summary and questions, have an open mind, engage constructively, communicate, and stay positive. By all means, stay positive throughout. You want to treat people like you like to be treated, so make sure that you follow that golden rule when you're doing your peer review exercise. And here is a draft checklist. You can just go right into it and see. This is the introduction. So what goes in the introduction, the hook, the topic, the thesis, and go through them one by one. Excuse me. And this will help you review your essay as well. Is followed up with a sample example of an introduction, and the same thing with the body. It tells you what is the structure of the body, and it gives you some ideas, and then it gives you a sample. And your conclusion, the same thing. What is the conclusion? What goes in conclusion? It gives you the information, and then it gives you an example. So make sure you go into this little box and read the information that's available for you. So next, we're going to go right into our compare and contrast essay peer review assignment. Now, this is the assignment that I was telling you is coming up. I have posted the list of your people, that the groups you are in for this assignment. And please let me know if members do not participate. You want to post at least the first page of your compare and contrast essay by Tuesday. Respond to at least 2 people in your group, within 100 words or more. It's up here. I just made it a shortcut cut below for you. So in your initial response, post a rough draft of at least the first page, more if possible, of your compare and contrast essay no later than Tuesday. And then you want to let people know what kind of feedback you're looking for. Excuse me. Provide feedback to at least 2 of your fellow team members by no later than Friday. So keep those dates in mind. Tuesday, you want to have your first page posted to your group, within your group. And don't pay any attention to any of the other ones. If someone is not active in your group, let me know. So then by Friday, you want to have at least 2 of your fellow team members. You want to have provide some feedback to them no later than Friday. So that way your team members will have a chance to look at your feedback and go through it and have it done and posted by Sunday when it is due. So, in each response to your peers, be sure to answer the following questions in complete sentences. Did the student remember to title the essay? If so, was the title catchy or memorable? And so forth and so on. Read the questions and make sure that you are responding to these questions when you submit your peer review of your, I guess, your peers, your classmates' work. So make sure that you go through that. And the next thing that we have is your critical thinking and reading exercise from chapter 4. You are to read chapter 4 and then do this exercise. It is one of the publication exercises that you have weekly. And then your next one is editing punctuation. So go ahead and make sure that you complete that. And then this is where your compare and contrast essay will be loaded, and it gives you all of the information that you need to be reminded of in order to have a successful paper. Now, some of the things are so easy that student could just go ahead and get that right, and then you don't have to worry about points being deducted. Make sure you're using the correct font, which is Times New Roman 12. Make sure that you're using the APA cover page. Use the same style that's in the folder in the file section. Don't change it. Don't make it bigger or smaller. Make the font look exactly like the page. They actually ask you to download that form and type over it. So that way you're not changing anything. The font size, everything is there for you. So you can just type over it. Those are some things that you can avoid getting wrong. So you make sure that you give enough text. Make sure that you have 3 to 4 pages. You see, I'm not going on that number count because some numbers are different, but I know what 3 to 4 pages of text look like. So if you're doing the minimum, then you want to give 3 pages and then go to the top of the 4th page and put a couple sentences to make sure that you have enough text. So either way is fine with me, but make sure you have the title page just like it's set up, and make sure that you have 3 to 4 pages, double space, Arial, not Arial, but Times New Roman font. So these are some of the things that you can avoid getting marked down for if you just go ahead and get those done. And then it's always a rubric that is attached that tells you everything that's needed in order to get the maximum amount of points. So pay attention to it. This assignment is worth 140 points, and I will go through each one of these criteria and make sure you are meeting these criteria in order to get the maximum amount of points. And guess what? That's it. That's the end of this assignment. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you guys and tell you have a nice week. And if you have any questions, remember I have office hours on Wednesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Please feel free to come on over if you have a question, or if you just want to come over and say hi. I'm there. So I'm there working on something for you, either reviewing your work that you have already submitted, or I'm sitting there putting something together for you in order to help enhance your education. So you guys have a great day and thanks.